G'day folks. Today we're stepping up a size. We're going from the purple range to the orange range. The orange range, of course, being the next step up in size, mainly twin-engined aircraft. Some really good ones in this range that I will get to over time. Now this is the Beaufighter Mk X, PK103, a 1973 original release, and I believe that this is the 1980 boxing. Now, I'm not sure who did this box art. I understand that Roy Huxley didn't do the initial box art, which was quite different from this one. It's an aeroplane coming in the other direction, dropping a torpedo. But I believe that he may also have not done this one. Anyway, it's not featured in the book of his artworks. Now, the Beaufighter is a favourite of mine, not only because I'm Australian and we flew them and built them here in Australia, so we flew British-built and Australian-built ones, but also, as I've mentioned before, being involved with Moorabbin Air Museum back in the day when I was building models in the 80s, and also today, where we have one of the few remaining complete Beaufighters in the world. It's an Australian-built example, and I'll show you a photo of it in a minute, but it's undercover now. Back in the day when I was building these kits, we had one engine was runnable. Both engines could have been run if we'd have put the work in, but we only had enough propeller blades to get one of them turning. And you can find videos of that on YouTube from various squadron reunions just by having a bit of a search for Moorabbin Beaufighter ground run. So let's have a bit of a closer look. Now we look at the artwork on the front. There's a bit of action going on here with what looks like a vessel in distress, or maybe it's just flying patrol over it. Anyway, it's at the stage where they've slightly sanitised it by making sure there are no other aircraft or combat scenes, which is the way that they seem to go in the late 70s and into the 80s. So here we see the main difference with the orange range is they're three colours, and this shows the three different colours of the mouldings assembled with decals, no paint. Looking at the end, we see that this end is sealed, and it of course just shows a basic aeroplane only and just an indicator of the orange range. On this side we have a different artwork, and just again a little bit more information in different languages, and this is, here we go, yes, it's a 1980 copyright marking, and then the same on this end as well. Now looking at the back, love the window. You look into the window and you can see green and grey treasures held within, and you see the two colour schemes. So we've got a 254 Squadron Coastal Command aircraft, and we've got a 144 Squadron Coastal Command aircraft. Now these are the Mark Xs, which are quite different from the earlier aircraft. They have the tailplane with dihedral that the Mark Is didn't have. They've got the most distinguishing feature is the fin fillet there to improve stability in that plane, and they've also got a thimble nose. Now this was not how the Australian ones looked. Well, we didn't have that particular thimble nose, and certainly didn't have the fillet. So a bit of work was required to turn one of these into an Aussie one. So yeah, that's the box. As I mentioned before, it appears to be sealed. That end is sealed, and so is that. So let us be the first to open this after 45 years. And let's have a bit of a look inside. Someone said in a comment the other day, it's almost like opening the door to Tutankhamun's tomb. You sort of expect the goodness to come hissing out. So, got to do these upside down, of course, because of the window. Yeah, here we go, that's the stuff. Whoop. Decals. let's look at the decals. These ones are curled and the tissue is lifting but untouched. So basic decals, again with the name that would go on the stand if you had one, in pretty good nick, but I'm not sure that I would use them. The instructions. Now the image here is different. This is a representation of the original box art image. So as usual, well, for the purple range, we've got a bit of prototypical information here about the type and some specs. This is a 3-part folder outer. So as usual, we've got the how to do it in different languages and what the codes mean. And then opening it up, again, 6 steps, not bad for such an impressive aeroplane. Assemble the pilot and the navigator into their spots. And it says, before you join the fuselage halves, clear holes A where shown. That's for the stand, but we don't have a stand. Or is it? It's part A. Oh no, part A looks like it's for the torpedoes. Step 2, we put the 2 crew stations and crewmen into their spots and glue the fuselage together. And then we clear section B for the stand, but we don't have one. Step 3, this side of wings together with the aileron in there, which is movable. You don't glue that, you don't put any glue on there, so you can move the ailerons. And the rockets underneath, the undercarriage doors, that all goes together. Step 4, rinse and repeat for the other side. Step 5, put your assembled wing sections, complete them, put the engines on with the exhaust and the backing section, so the prop will spin and the spinners. And once that's all complete, put it into the fuselage, do the same on the other side. Put the canopy and the blister behind the cockpit, and then the navigator's blister, the tail planes, the radio mast, and put all that on. And then just the finishing stuff. You put the torpedo mounts and the torpedo and the rockets on their rails. And then it shows what to do if you want to put it with the undercarriage up. Although we don't have a display stand. And then a list of the different types kits that are available. Paint chart on in the different languages. How to put your decals on. The layout for what smaller components get painted in what colours. Information in different languages. And that's the instructions. Now the transparencies. We have the navigator's blister there. We have the one forward over the ADF loop, and we have the canopy. So, yeah. Paintable, maybe chunky by today's standards, but good enough for this kit. Looking at the first sprue, we have the fuselage sides, or the pieces. We have the engine cowls, with the cowl gills there. We have the rockets, we have undercarriage components, a couple of spinners, more undercarriage components, ailerons, and some underwing parts on the mast there. Now to convert this into the Australian version, what I would do is I'd hack away and remove that dorsal fillet. I'd also remove the thimble nose and just both big holes that were left behind I'd fill with putty, just to make the original nose bowl, and make a bit of a blister over this section in front of the cockpit. And it is a, where are we? 73 moulding. So that's that one. Now this sprue, we have the undersides of the wings. We've got the engines and props. We've got the rocket rails there. We have the 2 crewmen and the 2 crew stations. The seats there, not a lot of detail, but you could do with that what you wanted. And we have the exhausts with the hedgehog exhaust there, and we've got the scoops from on top of the engines. So that's the second one. although it is marked C. The fuselage one is marked D, so let's have a look at the next one. Now this one we have the upper wing section with the engine top part of the nacelles. We've got the tail planes, we've got the undercarriage doors, got a torpedo, the main wheels, and of course these are bigger, so they're in 2 parts per wheel and tyre. And yeah, that's about all the detail you have there. Again, the panel lines are the trenches, but bit of paint, bit of filler, that took care of that. So that's the Beaufighter Mk X, the first of the orange range kits that I will review. As I said, a lot of happy memories with this one, because I could, with a bit of hacking and resulting in something that looked okay from about 4 feet away, build a passable representation of not only the Australian Beaufighters, but the Beaufighter that I used to climb all over and did a little bit of work on back in the day and still see today at the Moorabbin Air Museum. So thank you, folks. As I said, I'm open to comments or thoughts or requests. So thank you for joining me for this one. Cheers.